Hello, YouTube land. This is Brenton Sawin coming to you from Lexington, Kentucky, the Bluegrass State. I interviewed a few sisters on a story. There was actually four people that had this encounter with this huge dog, and then it turned into some things happening at their home and things like that. There was four witnesses. One of the witnesses has passed, and I did get to interview two of the sisters, and so I could get two perspectives on what they had seen. I think you're going to find this fascinating. The second encounter, I think you're going to hear her think that the dog, the way that it steps out onto the path, she couldn't see the back end of it, and I was wondering, I said, well, you think that was maybe because it was standing up? And I think when you're a kid, your mind wants to try to rationalize what you're looking at. And that's just my take on that. I think the thing might have been standing up. Not sure, though. So anyway, listen to both of their accounts. It's a very fascinating story, and maybe the history of the place plays a role in what was happening. But Ruby and Denna and Delilah, I wasn't able to get on the phone, but I think you'll get a good gist of what happened. Very, very bizarre stuff. Anyway, Thrunite Flashlight sent me another two Archers. It's the Archer A1 V3. I'm going to give one of these away. It's basically, boom, they come in this thing right here. The Archer flashlight is a very interesting flashlight. It's got the clip. You can clip it on your belt or whatever. It also has a strap in the case. You turn it on and you can have it on a very low setting. You can go brighter, 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 and brighter. I think it got I think it has four settings on brighter and brighter. And then you can hold it down and it goes into a strobe. But we don't want to make someone have a seizure there. So anyway, I'm giving this away. The people who comment in the comments, your name will go in a drawing, and then I will probably ship it out on after the 22nd. So we'll pick the names that are in the comments. We'll put names into a drawing and we'll draw it, and you'll hear more about that coming up. And I have another flashlight I was going to give away too on another episode. So I thought that would be kind of something fun to do. Thrunite lights, and it's one of the Archer flashlights. It's a very popular light to have. If anyone has a story out there they would like to share on this show, you can contact me at brentonsawin@gmail.com. Give a brief description of your story and contact information. If anyone wants to contribute to help me make this show, that is very much appreciated and has helped very much the past couple months. Now we're seeing the numbers start to come back up, and that will be seen in a little more helpful a month from now. So any contributions are very much appreciated between now and the end of this month. Okay, let's go hear this Dogman story and a very strange other creature thing that followed them home, and this strange church out in the woods. And a very bizarre location for sure down in Alabama. Enjoy. All right, Ruby, if you would, I'd like for you to introduce yourself, and then we'll talk about your story of your dog encounter.
Okay, well, my name is Ruby. I live in Alabama, and this happened when I was about 10 years old.
Okay. Yeah, when you first emailed me, you even gave me your couple sisters' numbers, so you had a very strange encounter with a huge dog-like thing that it just blew my mind. I couldn't grasp my head around it, so I asked a few questions and what have you, but you had two sisters with you, is that right?
Yes, and a brother also, but he has passed away since.
Okay, so there was actually four of you all together. But
Yes.
yeah, I guess if you want to kind of give us a description of like where you were, what the describe the area and what have you, and then just tell us your story with any details you can think of.
Okay. Well, this happened in a little place not too many people know of. It's called Claysville. And we, as children, we were, I don't know, I guess we stayed in the woods all of the time. We pretty much knew them like the back of our hand. And there was this one place that was back down in the woods. It was an abandoned church,
Right.
which was a really strange place.
Yeah.
And we went down there a lot just to play, being kids, of course, intrigued by it. And on this one occasion, we were going down the little trail we had in the woods, and my one sister, Denna, she remembers the trees starting to shake like the wind was blowing. But me personally, I just remember a huge paw stepping out. And then looking up and seeing this huge head. I don't know. Then we said German Shepherd, but the more I think about it, it could have been a wolf or German Shepherd. Being kids, we only knew German Shepherd.
Right.
So the thing kind of paused and looked down at us. It didn't make no noise, but it snarled the way a lot of dogs will do, just showing its teeth as like a warning.
Right.
And huge teeth. Huge teeth and really red mouth. That's what stood out to me. Well, I ran from that point,
Right.
and I didn't stick around.
So how high off of the ground was the head?
Oh, it was at least 12 foot up. It could have been even taller.
Right. That to me is what was incredible. Now can you describe the paw? Is there anything that stood out about that? Just a dog paw?
Other than it being really, really, it was, I'm trying to think of something I could compare it to for size, but it was, I guess, as big around as a Volkswagen Bug. It was big of a paw, or it seemed that big anyway to a 10-year-old.
Right. Well, I mean, even if you're exaggerating that some, I mean, my goodness, that was just an absolutely huge paw then, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And more after I spoke to you, the more I thought about it, I was trying to think, it's even possible that maybe the knuckles turned back up under, because I don't remember seeing any toenails.
Right. Like maybe it was hands instead of paws, and it was laying there with the knuckles folded under, maybe?
Right. It could have been, because I've really sat and thought about it a lot, and I do not recall seeing any toenails.
Right. So this was just an absolute monster, wasn't it?
It was. To us, it was, especially.
So when you say this head was huge, you're talking about the size of a car huge.
Oh, yeah. It was at least 4 foot across, maybe, and that was from between ears.
Wow. My goodness. And you said that can you describe the mouth and the teeth? Like you said that it kind of looked reddish.
Oh, yeah. That's what I remembered most is the mouth. The inside of the mouth was it was redder than red, if that makes any sense.
Right. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
The teeth were huge. They were like super long, kind of curved back, and really sharp. They were more narrow than what you would expect for teeth that big.
Huh. Now
And
I've heard this curved back thing before.
oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
And now my sister Denna, she remembers the color of its eyes. She said
Okay.
they were a deep yellow with some greenish tint to them.
Okay.
But
Wow.
me, I don't remember the eyes. I ran.
Right. Well, I'm gonna call Dina after we're done talking. If she doesn't mind talking, you think she
Oh,
would be available?
yeah, as long as it's not real late because she gets up real early. So she usually goes to bed between 7:30 and 8.
Okay. What time is it there now?
Oh, I'm not sure. It's probably about 6-ish, a little after 6.
Okay.
I'm
So
not in the room where the clock is
yeah,
at, so.
it's 7:58 here, so you all might be an hour behind me. I'll call as soon as we're done. Now, now,
Okay.
now, since you saw this, you took off running, and
Yes,
the rest of them, it took them a minute longer to take off running.
right. Now,
And
Danila, she said that she actually saw, like, the shoulders of it, but after that, that's when she ran.
right, my goodness, that is just so. That's unbelievable.
Mm.
That's about the hugest dogman I've ever heard of, or the dog, whatever it was. Do you think there had to be something supernatural about it?
I do. I believe there was because there were a lot of strange things that started happening to us after that.
Right. But it was an act. I mean, it was a physical creature, though, right?
Yes, it was
Yeah.
solid. It was a physical, solid, three-dimensional. It was
Right.
there.
Yeah. It kind of hard for you to comprehend something that large actually being in the woods.
You know, at the time, I guess it was, but as a young child, I guess you really don't think as much about stuff as you do as an adult.
Right.
And like I said, you know, we stayed in those woods, and we had seen dark shapes behind trees, and we'd say, oh, Daddy has followed us and is watching us,
Well,
you know,
huh.
and little things like that before then.
Right. Did you ever go back to the area again?
Yes, we did. And as a matter of fact, me and my sister Danila, we went about 2 weeks ago back down to where it happened. But of course, it's all changed. There's a road through there now, and none of it's the same. But we did stumble across the area on down in the woods that, I don't know, there was just a strange feeling about it, and there was an odd odor.
Huh. You
And they were, I'm sorry.
you must have had stuff living down there.
That's what we were thinking, that maybe we stumbled across some wild animal's den, but we started looking, they were trees that were pushed down, and they formed a circle in this area.
Well, that sounds like Dogman or even Sasquatch type um, behaviors.
Oh, I didn't,
It sounds like you had Dogman in your area.
that's, I'm not really sure what it was, but, you know, I think about it, and it's very possible, because to our minds, I remember us telling my mom that this dog came out of thin air, that it was appearing out of thin air. But,
Yeah,
you know, it would explain us thinking it was coming out of thin air if it didn't have that backside.
yeah. But you so you know that you saw a bunch of trees that have been pushed over and
Yes.
they were stacked up basically kind of in a circle.
Yeah, they were pushed in a circular uh,
Circle.
formation around this entire area that smelled. I can't explain the smell. It was just it was almost a skunk smell, but it wasn't.
Right. Huh.
It was a really odd smell.
Yeah.
And the thing was quiet there.
Really quiet, huh? Yeah. See, I mean that's almost fitting all the criteria that you hear
Mm.
about in people's stories. So
Well,
wow.
we just had a really uneasy feeling when we were standing there. I mean, it was like I told my sister it was like the air wasn't even moving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And I'm sure you've heard quite a few stories, and people talk about how quiet it gets, and they also talk about the smell or the tree structures and the tree breaks and stuff like that.
I didn't know about the tree structures, but I'd heard people talking about the odor with the Sasquatch, but
Yeah,
I didn't think of that because it wasn't an awful just gag you kind of smell,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it was almost like it was moving. It wasn't in one area. You would just move around and you would get a little whiff of it here and a little whiff of it over here.
Right. Huh.
Because at first we were thinking maybe it was some type of vegetation.
Right. Was this close to your house?
Well, as a child, yes, it was.
Did you have any kind of weird things happen at your home?
Yes, that's what. After we saw this huge dog, there was a lot of strange things that happened to us, and I know it wasn't a dog except one other time, but a lot of supernatural things started happening.
Really? Huh.
Yeah, there was a huge black ram goat that had come in our bedroom. There was a window between mine and my sister's beds, and it was ramming the outside of the house repeatedly one night.
Was
And
it someone's goat or just out of nowhere goat?
it was just out of nowhere, and it was raining that night, and it left no footprints, no tracks.
Wow. And it
And it was,
was. Can you describe the goat?
yes, it was huge. It was black, jet black, and its horns curled all the way around up under its chin. And it would back up, and it would drop its head, and it would run and hit the house, and it would hit the house so hard it would shake the house or the room at the wall where it was hitting.
Huh. Now I interviewed a lady from Ohio, and she had seen, I think there was like 11 or so dogmen that were they were dancing in a circle, and the biggest dogman had curled horns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So are you positive this was a goat, or maybe was it a dog?
Well, I assumed that it was a goat because this, like I said, it happened just a few weeks after we saw the big dog.
Right.
And it being down the way it was and backing up and running and
Yeah.
seeing the horns, I always thought it was a goat.
Yeah. Well, it may have been. I don't want to put any words in your mouth.
Uh, I mean,
But
I can't say that it was anything else. I just thought, it was a goat to me then.
right, yeah. So it was solid black. Could you see any like fur or hair or anything like that on it, or it just looked black in the rain?
It was just black in the rain. That's all we could make out, and the horns.
All right. And you said there might have been a dog one other time.
Yes, this dog actually came inside the house.
Okay.
Was a huge. It was like a Great Dane type dog,
Yeah.
and it was solid black. And my mom was in the kitchen cooking. The way the house was, the back porch was beside the kitchen, and you come through the kitchen down a little hallway into mine and my sister's room. And when we were in the bed, we could see down the hall into the kitchen. And this dog came straight past my mom, which she never even seen it or acted like she saw it because it passed right by her, walked down the hall, came into the bedroom, and raised up and put its paws on the bed where my sisters were sleeping.
Goodness.
Yeah.
And what color was it?
It was solid black also.
Man, that sounds like you ran into something out there in the woods, and it just followed you home.
Right. And that's what I was telling my sister here a couple of weeks ago. And, I was thinking about it, and it was like, there was a lot of things that started happening to us after that. And I don't know a better way to explain it, but that's when, for me, my life started going dark.
Huh.
As a child of 10 years old that had never heard anything, I started dabbling in witchcraft.
Huh. That was after this happened? After the big dog?
All after this.
How would you have known anything about witchcraft, though?
That's exactly it. But, I started casting spells to get what I wanted.
I mean, where did you learn such a thing as that?
Oh, I didn't. That's just it. I didn't even know what I was doing then until I got up older, and then I realized that that's what I was actually doing as a child.
Oh, so you were kind of doing something that just came to mind, and then you found out what that was later.
Right.
Huh.
There's one instance, just for example, we were wanting to go swimming,
Right.
and our parents had told us no. Well, I don't even remember all the details. I remember going out behind the house, digging a little hole, and me and my sisters, I got them to sit there with me, and we started doing a little spell, and then my mom come out and said, "Are y'all ready to go swimming?"
Huh.
And, we done the spell because to get our way, to get to go swimming.
Yeah. And the spell would just be some kind of words or something you would come up with.
Right, and like I said, I don't recall what it was. All I remember is I dug a little hole in the dirt and was done some little ritual there. I don't remember all the details.
And that just basically come out of the blue. No one taught that to you or nothing. You just
Exactly, and it all
yeah.
started happening after this encounter.
Now, do you know of anything having to do with the history of the area that you were living in? Maybe like burial grounds, like Indian burial grounds, or anything like that, or
Now,
maybe past slavery, or um,
that the slavery, because that's what they claimed that church house was the where the black people met, because they were not allowed to have church with the white people.
right? Huh?
And they said that bad things happened there, but I don't know what the bad things were. Nobody would ever explain the bad things.
Right. Because sometimes these kind of occurrences, in an area have something to do with something like that. I mean, that's just something that people have noticed, and so I always try to see if I can, find out anything, and maybe later on we can figure something out about it or something.
That
But
would be
well,
great.
yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what, your story is fascinating. And could you do me a favor and call your sisters and give me tell them I'll call in 10 minutes. I'll call Denna, or how do you
Dina,
pronounce? Yeah, and then I'll call the other one after I'm done with hers, since
as
she might.
Neela.
Delilah, yeah, Delilah and Denna. Call Denna first, I guess, so that we can get her before she goes to bed, if she's willing, and then I'll call the other sister after I talk to Denna. All right, Denna, I've already talked to your sister Ruby, and she gave me the account of this interaction, or this encounter with this huge dog, and she
Yes,
said she took off running really quick, but you were able to get a better view of this thing. So if you would, I'd like for you to introduce yourself, and then we'll get into your story, please.
Okay, I'm Dina. Oh,
And
the recollection that I have when we were little, I don't know, I was probably about 7, 8 years old.
okay,
We lived in Claypool down there, and we always, went through the woods and, like kids would back then, go through the woods and everything. And there was an old church down there we found fascinating for some reason. I don't know why, but every time we turn around, we going down there, going to the ponds fishing and stuff like that. one day it was me and my sister Ruby, my sister Danila, and my brother Anthony. We were going through the woods down there, and my recollection, what I remember is the trees started shaking. You know, the leaves on it was like, but it was just that certain one, and I thought, well, that's weird. You know, if the wind was blowing, it would have been all the trees, but it was just that one big one. And then I don't know, it was like it was coming out of another warp, like a warp or something. I seen the front of it, but I couldn't see the back of the dog. And it just sort of stepped out, and I seen the tail come out, and then the snout of it come out, and then it just looked at me, or looked down at all of us that was there, and sort of like snarled, and I took off running. I tried to grab my brother, but Ruby, I think she grabbed him, and the next thing I know, we had these old chicken coops down there, and I was trying my best. It seemed like it took me forever to get to them, and I was trying to get to the back door. I couldn't scream because I was just petrified. I thought, well, what in the world? Because I've never seen a dog that big. It was huge. It was probably over 7 foot tall, if not taller, and it just come out, and I took off, you know, because it scared me to death.
Right.
Which all of us ran. I don't know which direction we all took off, but I remember where I wound up.
Right.
And that was at my papa's back door. And that was the longest run. It was like, I don't know, it was like I didn't have no energy to run, but I was running.
Right. Yeah. So, now your sister, when she described it, I know when you're a kid, I went back to a neighborhood before that I lived at when I was like 6 years old, and everything seemed smaller to me. So,
Yes.
to you all, this thing was really, really huge, but trying to estimate how big it was, I think you're right. It probably was 7 or so, or 8. Your sister thought it was about 12 foot tall, but
No,
obviously it was.
telling
Obviously it was huge, and
Yep.
they do get really, really big on these, other stories that people tell. They're adults even and are pretty good at estimating size. But
Mhm.
so when you say when it stepped out, it seemed like it was stepping out of like a warp or something.
Yeah, it was like stepping out of another dimension or something. Like, it was really weird because you could see the front of it, but you couldn't see the back of it. And the trees, they were there, but they wasn't like big to where you couldn't see between them.
Right.
Or,
Huh.
had it had a body on the other end, I would have seen it.
Right.
But it didn't. It was like it was stepping out of a dimension.
Are you maybe thinking now that maybe it was standing up? That's the reason you didn't see the back of it?
Well, I don't know, because I figured it was on all fours because I don't know. It could have been because the first tile, it come out, and then I seen the snout come out. It could have been standing up on all fours. I don't know.
Yeah.
As a child, you just
Right.
don't understand something like that,
Right. Yeah. I mean, your mind would have been looking for it to be on all fours because it's a dog. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a thought. Can you describe what you saw? Can you describe the paw and the head, eyes, things like that?
Okay. The power of it was like really huge. I remember that, and it was like it looked like a German Shepherd, but it didn't. The coloring of it looked like a German Shepherd. And it had like yellow gold eyes. It had like, it was like oversized everything. The snout on it was like humongous, and the teeth. I remember the canines, the teeth. They were like really huge, nice height, and I was gone. I
Right.
started running at that point. I wouldn't want to stick around to
Right. And
see
the
any more of it.
so the color of the eyes had a yellow look to it.
Yeah, yeah, they were like like a dog, a yellow, gold-looking color.
Did it seem to have
Yeah.
a glow to it, maybe, or was it just the color of the irises was that color?
I don't know.
You don't
I
know.
really don't know.
Okay. Now the teeth. Your sister Ruby was saying that she saw the teeth. It looked like they were coming down and they curved back a little bit, and they looked real pointy for as big as they were, like thin. Did you notice that,
I
or?
don't know. No, all I noticed was the canines on it, was how huge they were, you know?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
because I was looking up, and that's all I could see is that one canine. That's where the position I was at from it
Okay. So
was
you
right under the.
So you were maybe at a little different angle than your sister. Your sister said that what she remembers the most is the red of the mouth, the red in it.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I mean,
Okay.
we play in different positions, and she probably seen a different angle, but all I remember is that huge tooth, and I was like, oh, me, it's fixing to bite me.
Yeah.
And it come from, like, the church that we always ran down to and played around and stuff. It was like, it come from that direction. It was the left-hand side of us,
Okay.
and it just come out. And, like I said, that church, which I don't know if she told you about the story about the church, the organ playing, and I was down there.
No,
I don't know.
She didn't say anything about that. What about that?
Well, we went down there. You know, the first recollection that I have of the church is we going through there, down through there, and there was an old organ or piano, or, you know, sitting up there on the stage. I guess it's where it would be. And this is an old, raggedy church. I mean, you can see holes through the wall.
Right.
It was one of the way, way back churches. And for some reason, we never went actually inside of it because we was all too freaked out by it. Because everybody, even now, you know, we talk about it and stuff. We always had this weird feeling about it. But we lived right outside of the woods of it. And one night we sat there and we heard the organ or the piano, whichever it was. I don't remember which it was, but I remember hearing that playing down there, and there was this huge goat that come, and it was banging on the side of the house there. It was just ramming. And we went and got our daddy up, which he went out there like nothing. But, yeah. And we'd always go back for why, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that was what I was going to ask you about, is the goat thing. So you heard the organ playing before you seen the goat?
Well, no, not that night. It was raining that night. But it was like, I don't know, I would say probably a couple of days before that, the organ was down there playing.
Yeah.
And I heard it. I told Denna, I was like, do you hear that? She's like, yeah. And it was just a lot of weird stuff that went on down there. And that's like, one morning I was laying, my mom was in the kitchen, and the way mine and Denna was there, we had to share beds, of course. We wasn't rich. We didn't have a room to ourselves. But me and Denna, we were laying like angled to the door. If I looked out, I could see straight down the hall and to the kitchen and out the back door.
Right.
And one morning, I seen, and it was a dog, it took its snout and opened the back door. And Mama was in the kitchen. She was cooking because that's what woke me up, was the smell of her homemade biscuits and bacon cooking.
Yeah.
And this thing comes through, walks right by my mama, and oh my gosh, god awful smell. And then I covered my head up, and the paws on it, it jumped up on me, and it was ice cold. I mean, ice cold. I thought I was going to suffocate before it went away. And I woke up Denna. I thought, Denna. And Mama said she never seen the dog. And I'm like, well, it come through there. I was awake because she said I was dreaming. I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I know when I'm asleep and when I'm not.
Right. So you saw it from the window, open the door?
The back door, it was like a screen door on the back door.
Yeah.
Of the house, and the hardwood door was like open.
Right.
The screen door was shut, and it took its snout, I guess, and it opened the door because I seen the snout of it, and it was like jiggling.
Yeah.
And then I thought, what's that? What is that? Well, whenever it come on through, it wasn't none of our dogs.
Right.
But it's crap out of me.
And you said ice cold. Did it make like the whole room was ice cold?
No, just the piles on it was cold.
Oh,
Because
wow.
I live under the covers.
Right.
And the piles on it jumped up there. And it, you know how a dog pants?
Yeah.
It panted. And it stayed there for a while until I thought, Denna, look up. Denna, get up. And I jump up, and it's gone. I'm like, well, where did it go? You know, it just, I don't know where it went. But
Wow. Do you think this was like supernatural type stuff?
well, I figure it has to be. That
Yeah.
was the only logical explanation that I have of it is, you know.
Right, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I
The
wonder
weird
if the
stuff.
whole, I don't know if you've heard much about Dogman, but it seems like a lot of weird stuff that seems kind of supernatural and you know, and but they're solid and they're physical. I mean, when you saw that big dog step out in the path, you knew that it was a solid dog, right?
Yes. I mean, it was a solid dog. And it was, well, like I said, probably 7 to 8 foot tall.
Right.
Because I was telling Ruby, I was like, she's like, oh, it was 12 foot tall. I was like, no, it wasn't, Ruby. I was like, we were little. You have to give, we were little.
Yeah. Right.
It was probably 7 foot tall.
Yeah. Well, that's big. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
Now, how wide was the head, you think? Just kind of taking a guess.
Oh, gosh. Probably, oh, gosh.
She said she thought it was like 3 or 4 foot wide. It was just massive in her mind.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was huge. I couldn't even guesstimate on how wide, because, I mean, I don't know.
Right. Okay.
But as a child looking at it, it was probably 6 foot wide.
Right. Yeah. Did you were you scared to go back down in that area after that?
No.
You weren't?
No, me and my brother went back the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, when she said that down in the woods, you all seen, or she at least says that she remembers seeing an area where there was trees that like put like in a circle, put trees pushed over and things like that, and they were formed up in like a circle out in this one area of the woods. Do you recall?
Yeah. Now I think that because we was thinking this is weird, but it'd be a cool place to go and build a fort. Because the way it was just circled out.
Right.
You know. Oh, I don't remember too much because I remember seeing it. I remember us going down there. And I believe at one time me and my brother started taking like sticks and going around.
Right.
But I don't think we ever completed the fort that he wanted to build.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
It was a lot of weird stuff that went on in that area.
Yeah.
And I wasn't never scared except for that time that the dog come through the back door. The cat got in there. It was spooky and everything. And
did you ever notice any smells?
Yeah. Now, whenever that dog come through the back door, it smelled. Oh, it made me sick to my stomach. I remember that. It smelled so foul. It was bad.
Right. Yeah. That's. I mean, it almost sounds like there was something supernatural going on in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And the
And
goat
it,
thing, that's bizarre.
yeah.
What did the goat look like?
Oh, well, Ruby's the one that looked out. I was like, I'm not looking out there because I was thinking, well, maybe it's some of the kids next door, you know, but
Right.
oh, it was rattling the windows. And I'm like, that's not no kid. You know, we thought it might have been, we had some friends over that night. And I was thinking, well, maybe it's her brother.
Right.
And Ruby, she looked out the window, which I did see the back of it, but I didn't look out to actually see it. I seen the tail of it.
Right.
And like, oh no, I won't monkey with stuff like that. I'll look, but I'm not going.
Did it hit pretty hard when it was hitting?
Yeah, it shut the windows.
Yeah. Wow.
Because we were afraid that it was going to wake up our dad. And you wake him up and it was bad. He didn't like getting woke up in the middle of the night, and we were sitting there petrified. And then the next morning, whenever we all got up, we told him, and he goes out there. He couldn't see nothing or anything, and I'm like, okay. You know, I always just sort of stood back.
Yeah.
Back, and I was like, you know, even as a kid, I'm like, okay, because it was raining. They should have been some kind of print. They should have been a mud hole right there where it was.
Right.
Should have been, but it wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then we chalked it off. It was our imagination, you know.
Right. Well, I can tell you this, that it doesn't seem like that dog stepping out was something you all imagined, because every one of y'all saw it, and you know,
Yeah.
sounds like you all experienced the same stuff. Well, I appreciate you giving your account of this, and I'm gonna call your other sister now, and I think this will be a pretty cool show, man. This is fascinating, really, unbelievable.
Okay.
And so thank you very much, Denna, and I'll be in contact with you all when everything's put together and ready to go. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.